Joel Hargis with the Florida Aviation Network, and we're here at Sun and Fun 2023, and I got a really unique experience here. I am with the Civil Air Patrol with Al Terrio, and we are in the Civil Air Patrol
Mobile Communications Unit.
There you go. And so as you can look around here and see, this place is loaded with technology.
Yes, it is.
And I'm very familiar with the CAP, and I know one of the things you guys do is search and rescue.
Correct.
And so when that gets serious,
they call us in.
They bring you in, and you take this thing of technology to the scene. Explain to us what you do with it.
You know, when you think of Civil Air Patrol, you think of flying. However, there also needs to be control on the ground.
Sure.
And this particular unit is set up that it can go anywhere, be self-contained. We've got our own power units, we've got our own radio network, we've got antennas, so we can go into the scene of a disaster and we can set up our command station from there. We've got, you know, the ability to track what's going on. We follow with radar. We can set up, like here at Sun and Fun, we've got the map of the area that we're covering, so that we can control what's going on where, talk to whoever we need to talk to with the different units that we have. We've got an aviation radio that we can listen to what's going on in the air. We're listening to 121.5 constantly, just in case you know, somebody's ELT goes off.
Right.
And that's part of our job out here this week, is to go find those and turn those off.
Cool.
Another part of it is we keep track of the local news. You know, part of being somewhere is to know what's going on, so we also have the ability to track the local news and what's going on the local news. And in this case, we're monitoring weather big time.
Right.
We've got about 150 CAP members here this week. And one of our jobs is to also maintain their safety, so we definitely want to watch the weather, you know, keep an eye on things that's going on, you know, communicate with back and forth between us. So it's an awesome unit to have, and self-contained, and it's wonderful.
So I'm pretty impressed. You've got, you know, clocks, you got local time, Zulu time. I mean, so one of the things as we were talking earlier is you really helped out when the hurricane hit Fort Myers. Explain to me what your mission was down there and how long you were there and how this was integrated into your efforts there.
Frequently after disasters such as the hurricanes, FEMA will contact us because we have such a large fleet around the nation, and we are able to operate at a very reduced cost from most folks. We do aerial reconnaissance. We have the ability to mount certain cameras on the aircraft and just fly over an area, and when we're finished, the computer will put that all together and we will have a composite picture of the city of Lakeland or the city of
Fort Myers.
Fort Myers, yes.
Was a disaster.
During those particular hurricanes this past season, Civil Air Patrol photographed approximately 85% of the peninsula, you know, shoreline.
Wow.
Looking at all the different devastations.
And your aircraft fly around what? Pretty low.
Usually when we're doing photo missions, we're at about 1,000 feet AGL.
Okay. And so probably more than one aircraft in the air at a time.
At one point we had 10 aircraft in the air.
Wow, 10 aircraft. I wouldn't have guessed that many. That's a lot of aircraft.
One of the amazing features of Civil Air Patrol is, since we all go through the same training, whether we're in Florida, Maine, California, we all do the same level of training. Folks from another state can come in and mesh with us instantly.
Right, I get it.
We had aircraft here from North Carolina, Tennessee, Alabama, and Georgia.
Wow.
And South Carolina. Did I say South Carolina? But South Carolina, they all came in and helped. And we were based in different parts of the state, more inland because of the devastation on the outside areas. And, you know, in the morning the planes would go up, and I'd be sitting on the ground on the radio talking to the airplanes in the air. And monitoring their flights, watching them on radar to see where they were and make sure everything is okay. When we have an aircraft in the air crew contacts the ground at least every 30 minutes.
Oh, okay.
You know, not only am
Checking
I watching them from the ground, but they are reporting in where they are, everything's okay, you know, any anomalies that they see, or if, you know, we need to redirect them. FEMA gives us a new higher priority site that they want to take pictures of, then, you know, we relay it instantly back and forth.
And search and rescue is just a huge part of what you do for downed aircraft. I know that.
Right.
And like when you get a report, I assume it comes from ATC that there's a plane down. They hear an ELT or something.
ATC will hear the ELT if it's local, but we actually get it from the Air Force Reconnaissance Center.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
The Air Force is monitoring the satellites.
Ah.
And any inland search is handled by the Air Force. So they will hear it from the satellites. They will figure out where it is and what part of the country or what state, and they will call the local alerting authority. And then, you know, such as here in Florida, they call one particular individual in Florida, and then they blast out a need, and we find the aircraft. We put a ground team together if needed, and
Wow.
then we launch.
Well, that's a great resource for us pilots, I'll tell you. That's comforting.
Yeah.
Right? So I got one more question for you, really. Lots of technology in here.
Yes, sir.
Airplanes are expensive.
Yes, sir.
This is expensive.
Yes, sir.
How do you get your funding?
We get a little bit of funding from the Air Force. They give
Okay.
us money to buy the aircraft. However, CAP is a volunteer organization.
Yeah.
So pretty much most of what I'm wearing, I bought.
Right.
A lot of what we see in here is donations.
Really?
You know, it's a 501c3 corporation.
Okay, so it's tax deductible.
Tax
folks.
deductible, yep. And we have somebody out there with real deep pockets. Right now, for this particular unit, I'm looking for a satellite system so that I can connect to internet without having to go through cell towers. Because right now, my internet goes through cell phones. And what happens during a hurricane?
Yeah.
We
yeah,
lose our cell
phone.
phones. So
What?
if I can get a satellite system on here, then I don't care what has happened in the area. I can pull in. I've got my generator for power. If I've got a satellite receiver, I've got internet, and you
You're
know,
good to
we're
go.
off to the races.
Well, maybe you ought to talk to Elon.
Hey, you know, I
You
would
know,
love to.
Starlink is going to be the next
is
greatest
huge.
thing.
It is
I
huge.
mean,
Yep.
and I mean,
You know, well,
he
the
could
fun-
probably use a tax deduction.
Yeah, one of the
Elon,
fun
you
things.
listening?
Yeah,
Watching?
yeah, come on, Elon. One of the fun things is I live in Titusville,
Okay.
so I get to see them all go up.
SpaceX,
You know,
all the time.
So,
right?
yeah, it's an
Truly
awesome
amazing.
thing to see him.
You know, and there's actually
there's one of their
picture
plants
of
Yep.
their production facility out near Titusville.
Right.
And so it's just amazing what they've done. I've been out the Cape and saw that stuff. It's really real cool.
Yeah, this happens to be an example of some of the photos that we take. I was sitting in the back seat of our 172, and we've got a little hole in the window, and one of our missions is to take photos as we're directed. So we go around and, you know, I've got, okay, this is my target one, and I'm passing north to south, and I keep that little clipboard and then take pictures. We come around again, and we take more pictures.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks for inviting me in here, you know.
Love to have you.
This is cool. I had no idea you had anything this cool. And so this is something that's really not on display at Sun and Fun, but they have a booth out here. This is a great thing for the youth to get involved in.
Amen.
It's really good for the young kids to
It is.
get involved in CAP. I'm Joel Hargis with the Florida Aviation Network here at Sun and Fun 2023.